will play in this game, and just what are the challenges associated defensively when you face a quarterback like that?
I mean, based off the information that we have to date, I think you clearly have to anticipate Lamar playing. He's obviously a dynamic player, and that's really, the way you have to set your game plan under these circumstances and then react accordingly as the information comes to you. And I think it's just the reality of where we are, with this NFL season as far as the changes that occur in scheduling and so forth. Just for instance, like today's a Wednesday for us, and just a number of things that you continue to work through, and then you're flipping into a short week going into Cincinnati. So I think it's just all part of the times that we're in. And but to answer your question directly, I think we clearly do have to prepare as if Lamar is going to play, and obviously he's a dynamic player.
Mike, the league changed its COVID protocols again, and in the memo sent out today, among the changes were that there's no longer going to be a restriction on injured reserve players going to games. Do you expect staff or anyone else on injured reserve to be on the sidelines in the coming months?
I don't know. As far as being on the sidelines, I mean, I'm clearly understand the change in the 62. So I mean, we'll react to that accordingly. We're going to take everybody that we need, and particularly, I think I felt it's always important, particularly for practice squad players, to be part of it because you train and treat everybody the same as far as their ability to be ready to play in the game. So you definitely want to be them to be part of that too. So as far as all the specifics of who's going to be on the sideline and those types of things, we'll continue to work through that and organize that for Tuesday.
You've talked before about Zach Martin being out. What players will you rotate through at the tackle positions, and who will have a chance to work in on those right and left tackle spots this week as you sort through this?
Well, I mean, respectfully, in the fairness of the sport of competition and gamesmanship, I think clearly with us trying to regulate the news and the potentials of who's going to be playing on Baltimore's starting unit, offense and defense for that, I think, our approach, how we move forward, we like not to talk about that unless we absolutely have to. So, talk to you Monday.
Is there a chance Anthony Brown might come back for the Ravens game?
He's definitely part of the playing moving forward, but medically, I don't have an exact status. He's still working his way back.
Mike, to clarify on something from the call the other day when I wasn't on it, you all are not quarantining a quarterback per se, is that right?
We are not taking one specific individual and quarantining the quarterback, but we have a very good plan that we feel very confident in that'll ensure us to have a non-COVID quarterback the rest of the year.
Right. So it seemed like in your answer you were saying that through your own process and through the facilities that you have to kind of execute it, that you feel good about it.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, can you talk about the experience for the team yesterday, virtually participating in Marcus Paul's memorial service, and what did that time allow you to have?
First and foremost, I think the family did a tremendous job. The service was beautiful. We were able to participate virtually just because of the COVID restrictions and just everything that we're involved with here at work. But it was touching. I thought that the story of his life and his family and was presented beautifully. If you had a chance to know Marcus, and I know my time with him was short, but he was definitely a strong man of humility and faith, and clearly led by example. And to hear about the success and the stories that were told by the family and his friends was awesome. And I know to a man our team was touched by it.
Mike, as the continuity grows here with Andy as your quarterback, how has that helped in the planning during the week of knowing what he likes, what he doesn't like, what he does well, what he doesn't maybe do as well?
Oh, I think you really answered the question, and with all the variables you just stated, it's the continuity, the cohesiveness, just the conversations, whether you're talking about protection adjustments or initial declarations in the run game, the route concepts, particular times. So now we're building reps, and the consistency definitely should improve. This is a huge challenge. Frankly, Andy has the most experience in our room playing against Baltimore. So, but yeah, I think it's definitely will help us moving forward, and I look for it to hopefully pay off Tuesday night.
You've talked about before, this has been such an emotional stretch for you, but it's also an unusual stretch because of the time off you've had here. Will there be things you look for today to see how focused the team is, and do you alter anything to kind of say, okay, we've got to get back in the routine now. Here's what we have to do going forward?
That's an excellent point, David. I feel like you might have sat in a team meeting today, and that's exactly our mindset. We need to really hit it hard today, particularly the tempo, and I'm talking about the efficiency, the communication. We have competitive drill today, and we'll have 2 tomorrow. So, just get back into that full speed, up tempo, competitive, climate that you're able to roll through on a 7-day week, and it's no different when you come off of a bye week, is to get back to playing at the speed. You have to build up to this point when you do have a layoff of 5+ days, and we were able to do that 2 days ago. So yes, that is clearly the focus of today's practice.
You said before the changes kicked in on the schedule that you thought maybe your guys could use a little bit of a break. As you look back on it now, was the timing of that good?
Oh, I definitely think so. I mean, with stating the obvious, just coming off of the emotion of Marcus's passing, and then playing on a short week, Thanksgiving, and yes, I think definitely the time off will definitely benefit our football team.
You said earlier that Andy has the most experience going against Baltimore. Your defense, most of the players have not faced Lamar Jackson. What's the challenge in facing him and his zone read runs as well as his pass?
Well, I mean, he's a unique player. There's no question about it. I mean, I think he's clearly the biggest threat with the football, because of his versatility and his ability to run and make plays, extend plays, and he's clearly complemented, by multiple scheme, particularly how they run the ball, and the backfield in itself is dynamic. So I think clearly you just look at the way they're built, with their rushing attempts, their ability to run the ball, their multiple defense, and they're outstanding on special teams. It's definitely a formula that has really worked for Baltimore, since Lamar has taken over. So I mean, this is a huge challenge, from a team perspective, but just the way Lamar plays the game, and his ability to keep plays going. He's so dynamic with the football, and his ability to extend plays and make any throw in the book.
Mike, pass rushers getting.
I'm sorry?
Alden Smith has been dealing with illness this week. What's his status for today?
He's probably going to be limited to maybe not being there. That hasn't totally been decided. So we're checking on his availability today.
Mike, pass rushers get noticed and paid for sacks and things. Coaches always say that's too shallow of a way to determine if a guy's playing well or not. How do you determine, like a guy like Demarcus and what he's been able to do for you this season, even as his sack numbers have ticked up here the last couple of games?
Well, I think the word impact is probably a better evaluation platform to work off of. Does he impact the game for not only with individual production, but the ability to make the players better around him. So it's whether that's pressures, the ability to collapse the C gap in a run game where the linebacker or the support element is free to make the tackle. So I think that's clearly plays to D-Law's strengths. He's an impact type player, and because what you don't want is you don't want players to go playing for individual statistics, because there's so much more to the game than that, because impact players make other people around them better.
Zeke was the team's nominee for the Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award. He's obviously highly respected among his peers. Can you just talk a little bit about his impact on the team from a leadership standpoint this season amidst the injuries and his character on the field?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Zeke has been so consistent from day one. You can see his personality, as it fits with the football team. He's definitely one that people are attracted to. I mean, he helps the younger players, and I've said this before. I mean, he sits in the front row in all the meetings. Goes to the quarterback center meeting. So he does all the little things that no one sees. And I think definitely his ability as a football player, he would definitely fall in the category of making people better around him. So he's very versatile and definitely a key member of our football team.
What does it say about him, too, that this is, statistically, you can argue, been his worst season, but he still seems to be so engaged, not complaining about his role. You don't hear any of that. Is that unusual for a player at that level, have you found, at that position, to still be that engaged?
Well, I think that speaks to him and speaks to the player, because, I mean, he's a big part of this. I mean, in the way we go, he's always going to factor in the outcome. Because the way the opponent views him, the way defenses are playing us, and that alone helps create opportunities for other players. So I mean, I think that's clearly the normalcy of working together every day when you see the why and what we're doing and just really staying in tune with the reality of correcting, evaluating, and applying it to the next game. So we all understand the things that we haven't done very well, the pattern of things, the mistakes of what we haven't done, we that needs to stop. We need to improve on that coming down a stretch because that's been a little bit of a common denominator. But, you also got to see all the good things that are happening, offensively today we had a full offense, pressure type meeting, and just the level of communication, interaction, and then really camaraderie even during that segment that didn't exist 6-7 weeks ago. So I think that's the normal growth of any football team, any offense, and definitely Zeke is a big part of that.
Tony Pollard seemed to have some strong moments in pass protection the last game. How would you evaluate that area of his skill set?
Yeah, I think Tony's doing a heck of a job, especially with his opportunities. He had a couple plays there early in the season, but since then he's responded. His ability to make plays with the opportunities that he's had has been very impressive. Pass protection is something he's taken a lot of pride in, and it's definitely improved. So I feel really good about TP. I think he's doing a heck of a job.
Mike, you said Zach Martin is scheduled to miss multiple weeks here with this calf deal. Is moving him to IR a possibility, or is that kind of mitigated because you have practice squad call-ups for guys that can fill in for him?
Well, to be honest with you, those conversations are a little bit of a moving target. You're obviously getting the feedback from the training room, and I'm not just talking about Zach specifically, but the couple of players that are in the realm of multiple week injuries. So that's nothing that's set in stone, or we have an exact plan that we haven't released it yet. So we'll just see how he progresses.
Mike, you talked about Zeke's leadership. You've obviously had limitations on how you could connect with the players in the first year because of COVID, because of the shortened off season. How key do you find it as a coach to have a few leaders like that so you can really rely on to instill your culture in the team when you get here?
You don't have enough leadership. I mean, I think it's something as a head coach you're always looking for opportunities, to develop leadership, and I think leadership is something that players develop on every level of responsibility. So definitely, to think you have one leader or two leaders and that equates to a championship football team, that's not the case. I feel every player in that locker room should be looking for opportunities to make him, not only make himself better, but make the guy next to him better. So, whether it's on a look team or whether it's in the weight room, whether it's in the classroom, and ultimately all that ties together and carries forth on game day. So, leadership development is a constant. It's something that it's a huge part of conversations, particularly when, myself and Will and Stephen and Jerry sit down and talk from the development of our locker room. And it's something you're always trying to develop. Good, Rich. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.